Look, let me get this headphone right. Alright, so I might be wondering why I have this word up that says Coronat. Well, yes, it comes from the word corona, which means the sun. But this definition, it means crowned, right? So, that being said, the crown of the sun is when the red and blue kachinas together that causes the nemesis. When you see a purple sun, like, it's nemesis. It doesn't always point off as blue. It usually points off like a blue dwarf, a yellow dwarf, and a red dwarf. You can see the purplish with it from the blue, but when it's in its state as crown, there's just purple when you view it, okay? Meaning that it's in its state, crown state, nemesis. So that ties to the reproduction of you or the destruction of you, right? I'll put that in that Starlink video. That's why they even put it up around the time of the Lionsgate portal, because we're aligned with Sirius, right? Sirius is a portal that opens up, meaning we're not a tri-solar system, we're actually a quad solar system, because Sirius makes it a quad, because it's a portal to that solar system. You get what I'm saying? Alright, so I took this word from this, bruh. Coronation, because, well, let's finish what the TION means. Because I think the TION actually stands for completion. Now my phone is like tripping out because they got me. This shouldn't be doing this, and I'm not on YouTube. But since I've been on YouTube and it's connected to this phone, yeah. So that being said, I put Caronat together when it was supposed to be split, indicating state, condition, action, process, or result, election, prohibition, comparison to ion. So, indicating state condition, because remember, the corona is the sun, right? So it's indicating the state's condition as it being crowned, right? Because look, ion, right, it could be compared as ion. So I made the word, I typed in Caronat, because that's still a word within the word, right? It's just dealing with different prefixes and suffixes. Just like core or CO, you feel me? Or just the number, or just the letter C. It's really Gorana. You feel me? So we're in the crown state, meaning it's up and it's stuck. Crown state. The sun is in a crown state, an atom or molecule with a net electric charge due to the loss or gain of one or more electrons. And what have I been saying? When we get into the 2000 hertz, that's dealing with the V2 charge, dealing with 6, 7, and 8D, right? I'm going to make this video so I could really show you what I mean, because when I be talking most of the time, I be just everywhere. Just because I just be, that's the way I get it out of me. You feel me? But if you want to like really talk about it, we could really talk about it. That being said, ions. An atom or molecule, you said that, mid-19th century, mid-19th century, dealing from the beginning, because 1 plus 9 equals what? 10, but 1 plus 0 equals what? 1, right? Or you could bring that 1 plus 0 equals 2, and then you're right back at 2. But that 2 is still part of it being a rebirth that's going on. So anyway, the Greek neuter present participle of go. Okay, so forming nouns denoting verbal action. So when it talks about denoting, it's talking about denoting a new energy, because that's what delta means, right? Just like the pyramid to my name, one going down, one going up, that's a delta, a cycle. So it's talking about a cycle that's forming communion. An atom or molecule, the charge of the thing about this is how they freeze people when there's at a crime state. It's just they don't realize this is a subtropical area, period, so none of that really won't even stick too long. But you see how the fake snow been actually sticking, because they're manipulating the ions, which is giving a charge. But when you put certain chemicals up, it actually makes a different chemical compound, and that's when the carbon emissions turns that electron, it erases the ion and manipulates the ion into a new type of energy, to a different chemical compound, which is ice. It's the opposite. It reverses it, because it takes that charge, eliminates the carbon emissions, and makes that charge zero. So meaning that heat becomes cold, because you have to realize it's also dealing with helium. And the helium is actually what makes you denser, the helium and the hydrogen. The helium is just the life force, which they don't tell you. Not saying go fucking swallow some helium or some shit. No, bro. It's different when it's coming at you in a different way. The helium is just like a balloon. You put helium inside of a balloon, right? It's going to do what? It's going to rise. It becomes less heavy. It becomes less dense. If you were to keep blowing air out of your body, like your oxygen or your carbon into, if you blowing your oxygen into the balloon will actually be more dense, meaning it would seem like gravity is pulling it down, but really the only thing that's pulling it down is the weight, right? It's not dense, it's heavy, which becomes something that holds you down, right? So that's when your frequency's high, you be feeling lighter, and the times you feel heavy while these heavy energies are hitting is because you need to clean up whatever in your body that is messing with your density, right? Because if it's making you feel down when it's supposed to make you feel up, then what do you think that can do to you? This is why I say it doesn't even matter what ethnicity you are at this point. eat a planetary diet so you can absorb this energy. Because if you're not going to be able to absorb this energy, then your cells aren't going to be able to reproduce itself. Because in reality, we are in cellular subdivision, meaning there's a massive growth of cells within you, or a decretion of cells within you, or it's just nothing going on with you at all, period. So y'all probably like, this shit random as hell. I was about to type it on here for me, because Corona, then they have Coronat is what I looked. And then Asian, ion. See all them words that's in here? Then you have Coro, which still is ties to the avatar, the female avatar, dealing with the energy, which is the hertz, which is the feminine energy, and the ang is representing the angle is coming in the sacred degrees. So ang represents the sacred energy of protecting it, and it represents the sacred energy. The sacred degree, meaning the level you're on. The sacred degree can be the level or the angle that you're reflecting. So Ang represents the sacred degree. We're going to say the 33 of the 6-9, which is the feminine energy, the 6-9 of Cora, the female avatar. Because when you put both of them together, it measures the time, right? It's a measurement for time, degrees and hertz. So that represents the energy, not the time, the energy. And when you're like Aang and Korra, right, as you're learning how to become yourself, find out, because they didn't know they were the avatars like that, so they had to learn about themselves, right? So now that the sun is at a crown state, you need to be in a crown state, meaning look at the chakra video and like actually do it. Like it seems like it won't work, but stop saying that. Like, just just do it. Like, pause from one step, the second step, the third step. Pause until you can picture it. Don't let the video just keep playing, because then that messes up your meditation with it. Really, you shouldn't even have to be meditating that long when you do it, because the whole thing is closing your eyes and being able to picture, being able to use your creativity. Because you have to realize when you do that, you're actually configuring cells of what to do next. Because you're the commander-in-chief of the cells, meaning you're the commander-in-chief of the cells, input and output. So the only way these cells are going to know is if you're conscious of what you're doing. But that's something you should know. Not saying from what I just told you, like, you're an idiot. No. In reality, you are an idiot when it comes to Black Law Dictionary. But I'm saying, like, you know your downfalls. You know what you need to be doing. You know what hurt you. You know a lot of shit that you don't need to be going outside of yourself for help. Only thing you go outside of yourself is for guidance. Right? So look, because if you can find someone with a genuine heart of guidance that's a reflection of you, then you can just do it within yourself. Because it's not that you don't know how to, it's just your cells forgot. So once your conscious remembers or hears something that helps you remember, they start to make light, start configuring the way it's supposed to again. Because the spell is when you're thinking of ways that is not of you, now you depend on little shit. So that means you become a 10 percenter in the negative. A 10 percenter in a positive is 10% of the people, 10% of the world realizing. But the 10 percenter that I mean is you're not realizing shit. So that's pretty much ties to your brain of using 10%. So if you are able to do all of this shit at a 10%, even if you're like not operating as a god, just imagine what the fuck you can do with 100. Like, they even made these robot arms. They made it to where it was 6. 3 arms on one side, 3 arms on another side. The neuromelanin in you ties to you being able to do 8 different things plus 1. That brings you back to the 9. It is actually a representation of the octopus when it comes to Shiva and shit. Feel me? That ties to the neurological brain, right? So you might see it as arms, but imagine it just being your thoughts and you're controlling it like you had arms. See, that's the thing. When you tap into your input and output, now the music is on the same note. So when the music is on the same note, now you control the symphony, right? You got different people that's a part of the choir, right? So the more people that joins your choir, the louder the frequency gets. But in unity, everything flows and works the way it was meant to be for the choir, for the song, right? So be the director of self, right? Because the thing is, you're going to be the director of self once you remove the anxiety from your conscious, meaning your mental, and start eating right. That would actually change the anxiety coming from your physical. When you might look at yourself in the mirror, that could consciously mess with your physical because you don't physically like how you look consciously. But the thing is, you have to understand you did it to yourself, and you're going to change it up now. So that shouldn't even stress you out, because once you think about it, you know what you need to be doing, and you know what got you in that position. So if eating the wrong shit got you in that position, then you need to realize that that's not of you. So that being said, every time you look at yourself, you should say, this is leaving, this is going, right? Because you can eat it, shit it all away. But the thing you need to be doing with it is sweating, because it's part of releasing toxins, releasing what's not of you. And that's the thing about fasting. Like, people only fast for a certain amount of time when it's supposed to be your way of living. And even if you did was to step back into what's not of you, then you have to realize that should be 10%, and your better way should be the 90, not the other way around. You eating 90% of bullshit and then 10% of good shit, like feeding yourself mentally and spiritually. because that's the A and B to you. That's actually the ba that they're interrupting. You feel me? So, that being said, this is on her page, but if you can see where it says right now, coronation ceremony underway as Westminster Abbey. So this ties to UK, right? Like I said, this X is on the way, and the way these M flares been popping, like, this reminds me of 2021 when the air was actually getting charged. You feel me? Like, I might be tripping because I be feeling like it is, but we're all in different areas of the 360. It's just when I used to look up, I could actually see the atoms, right? Like they always told you couldn't unless you had a microscope. But you have to understand, they got the microscope for my eyes, for me. So, that being said, when I used to look up, I used to see atoms, right, since I was a kid. But that's anyway. When you focus your eyes, you can start to see the debris. Because the atoms is really debris. Them stars, debris, right? It's not debris, it's embers, which can actually catch on fire if they had chemicals in there like methane and shit. That ties down to that too. It's really science they're doing on right now. It's not science, it's alchemy that they're doing right now, right? Because they studied the science of us, right? So, and the study of the chemistry, the chemistry between us and nature, because it's literally us. It's part of our body. It's an input and output thing. When it's talking about acquire, the body and the elements, nature, the atom is true essence of the elements. You feel me? So the water, the fire, the planet, the ground, the air, all of that shit, even the sun, the metals, the blood, is all manipulations of an atom, right? So that's how we actually were the creators on this planet, because we understood self to make it seem like some incredible, amazing shit that it was just normal. Like, yeah, it's amazing, but it's only amazing to someone who forgot their self or never seen it before. Like, if anything, it's amazing to the ones who are trying to learn off of us still. To me, I was thinking it's amazing. It is amazing because it's appreciated. But at the same time, this shit ain't nothing new. Like, at the end of the day, we're using our common sense. And our common sense is getting us further in the game. My mom always told me, use your common sense. Don't be acting like you slow. As you use your common sense, your neurons, your ions start sparking. They start joining together, making tetracovalent bonds. That's the D in medical, right? But the D in chemistry deals with denoting a new energy. So that's what I'm saying. When you start detaching what doesn't serve you, you start creating light. Break the spell that's been put over you. It's been put around you, but it's been fed to your consciousness. So now it's a whole another entity operating, which becomes a battle within yourself. But that entity is scared of you. Remove the fear. Because most of the people get attacked in they sleep and don't even know it. And then that intuition that comes throughout the day, that intuition becomes anxiety. It's supposed to be clairvoyance. So that being said, 90-day fruit fast and solids. Behind that, that should save you some more money to be able to stock up some food without touching it. Because the fruit and the vegetables will have you pretty much not even worry about eating all the time, because you only feed for your minerals. And that explains why you can go out to eat and then be literally hungry an hour later, then be hungry at just keep stuffing your shit with the wrong shit. The whole time you ate a large portion of fruit or vegetables or something like that, you would feel satisfied at the end of the day. The only thing that's not satisfying you is the drugs, right? I'm not saying you have to, but this is something you have to do, because the energy isn't going to stop doing what it's supposed to do. Being that you're part of this cycle, you're part of its cycle, meaning you're supposed to go with it, not against it. So if you're going against it, then nigga, that's on you. Period. I mean, if niggas really love themselves, you would do what's good for yourself. Sometimes it's too far of an understanding, but if I'm telling you something that's good for you, how am I leading you the wrong direction? So if I'm telling you that something that's good for you, actually, like, try it. 90 days. Try it. If you renege, that's you. Then you're gonna have to try again without reneging. Because the best thing is you have to stay down to see the results. You're gonna have more energy. Why? Because your cells aren't dying. Right? The more it reproduce, the more of a charge you have, and that allows your DNA strings to actually repair itself. Okay? Love y'all, though. To be the tribe. Right? My aura's been going off this whole time since I've been saying this, and it's cold as hell in my house. Like, but my aura, I feel like the goosebumps, like, pop. I feel the energy popping off of me. So I'm sending you good energy and protecting my shit. Y'all be good. Stay down, rise up. Let's get it.